Welcome everybody. Let's go ahead and take our 3 deep breaths first. Another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings. Hope you guys are having a great day. And thank you so much for being here. There's not much sun going on right here. It's kind of just this morning I wrote down peace. It was very peaceful and quiet and still. I haven't really seen any animals, but it's very, very still and peaceful. And I wanted to remember to say too, yesterday, an unusual amount of helicopters passed over. And it was interesting because I saw on one of the network, the neighborhood network emails, somebody was talking about the helicopters as well. So today, where it's very peaceful, I have the Metatron read from this morning and yesterday morning, as well as a message of the day, a union read, and a twin flame read today. So I want to get right into it. There's a lot of messages, significant messages that came through in this morning's reading. So I wanted to do that one first, and then I'll do everything in sequence after that, starting from yesterday. So let's go ahead and do the roll of the die to see what energies are coming up for the twin flames today. Yay, twin flames. Today is December 8th, 2021. So we have Venus coming up here, as well as Cancer energies, which is also looks like the 69, which is the Ace of Pentacles. And then we also have the number 6 coming up here of the Lovers, which is also Gemini energy and twin energy. The Cancer energy, very motherly and dealing with the home energies as well. And then of course Venus is going retrograde. I think that's in my read too. The 17th or the 19th of December, I forget which date, but it's already in motion towards that. So you're probably going to feel the retrograde before that. So Venus retrograde coming in, so that will be significant. I think it was in Capricorn, but I'm not positive. And then we have the Cancer energy, which is the opposite of Capricorn on the same axis. And then again, the Lovers of the 6th of Gemini, but also the month of June, which would bring in both Gemini and Cancer. So yeah, Capricorn, Cancer, Gemini, and Venus, which brings up Libra and Taurus energies. So let's see what comes up with all of that. Let's see here. So this is the Metatron read from this morning, because I have one from yesterday morning as well. Okay, so that's the first one we're going to review. And that's today, the 8. The 8 is the Strength card. It's the dance between the masculine and the feminine. It's also the manifestation of your dreams, the inner and outer strength to do that. And today adds up to 25/7, which is actually the Knight of Wands. And the Strength card. So very fiery today with Leo and Sagittarius coming up. But it obviously all 3 fire signs come up. But the Knight of Wands will motivate you to get going, and the Strength card giving you the endurance to do what you need to do. Very interesting stuff that came up, especially since we start out with peace this morning. I did this Metatron read at 10:41 to 42, which is the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, and then the Ace of Cups and the 2 of Cups. Very beautiful energies there. The underlying energy card was Metatron, but I do the bottom 3 cards, so it was Karma, which is 28, which is the Twin Flames, the Wake-Up Call of 11, which is Justice, which is Truth and Balance, and then the Metatron card on top at the bottom of the deck. And that's 27, which is that third flame, the inspiration, right, to fire you up and get you going, the catalyst, the trigger. The first card out in this read was the inner child, which is the 36, which is the Atlas energy and the weight of the world upon your shoulders. So it's always about going within to your inner child to see what is weighing on their shoulders. And so here's the message. Let me give you the colors first. We had silver and gold right off the top. We have indigo. They're all right in a row, silver, gold, and indigo. Okay, so very much the upper chakras here. But we also had green of the heart, and then blue of the throat chakra, and orange also came up, which is the sacral chakra. And the only element that came up today was water. So like I said yesterday, water, 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 very important right now. And breathe. Okay, so the electromagnetic grid is also coming up here, significant. Remember, that's the dance between the electric and the magnetic, the masculine and the feminine, and the knots between us in the twin flame choice of path. The wake-up call to justice, which is truth and balance, and it's also Libra energy that came up with Venus today. And Venus retro, here's the dates where I wrote down. December 19th to January 29th, 22 is Venus retrograde, where old love energy may come back into your field. Listen and take notes and cross that bridge when you come to it with new passion to create bridges. The close-up came up here with the wings. Close-up of the wings. The wind beneath the wings is this rainbow that bridges your wingspan. So again, you might want to do that stretch that I told you about, putting your hands on the top of your shoulders and rotating your elbows forward, but especially back in your wings to really release some of that energy there. And I've been doing that a lot too with different movements of my head. So I'll do my head straight forward, and then I'll look to one side, and then the other side, and then up and then down while rotating my wings. And the geese were flying by as I wrote that down. And as I was writing down the rainbow that bridges the wingspan, I was getting the Milky Way as well. Ask your inner child what's weighing on them. And as the geese were flying by and talking a lot at 11:03, which is Justice and the Empress, or Gaia, I went in to meditate with my inner child to see what the message was to give you. And I wasn't getting anything specific from my inner child. She was guiding me towards Rolfing. And Rolfing is something I discovered in my 20s, which I did play with before, and I definitely had some really cool experiences. Like Rolfing is basically rebalancing your energy by doing what you would normally do on one side on the other side to balance. You know how you always drive your car with one foot, so you're always using one side, it gets out of balance, and so to make that same action with your other foot in order to rebalance your physical body. And in doing that, you release stuck energies. And so when I tried this out in my 20s, I just remember going to the bathroom, and all of a sudden a pan of the military, of a bunch of soldiers in like a really long horizontal panning of all these wounded soldiers, and Marilyn Monroe at the podium. And it was all in black and white, but it was very clear as day. But anyway, I wanted to bring up the Rolfing here because that's what's actually coming up. And before I did this meditation this morning, I was doing Rolfing in the kitchen. So you know how one hip may be different than the other, and I was aligning my feet in the kitchen this morning when I was doing my juice and stuff. And I always, when I'm doing my reads and stuff and talking to you, I'm always turning to my left. So when I was doing my stuff in the morning, I was doing, swings to the right at my waist, to kind of counteract that, because my hips tend to be off that way, because my right hip was turning in. So again, I was Rolfing already before this came up in my meditation, and I wasn't even thinking of the term Rolfing. I was just doing it because that's natural to me sometimes, to just feel into those energies and do what's needed. So I was guided when I was meditating to focus on my right brain and the pineal gland, because you might notice when you meditate, when your eyes are closed, your eyes always turn in a certain direction, and my eyes usually go to the left when I'm meditating. So I was being guided to focus on my right brain and focus my eyes looking towards the right. And that may be different for you. You may be opposite from me, so do whatever's the opposite of what you normally do. So focus on the right brain and the pineal gland, because I always tend to look left when I meditate. So you can also ask for spontaneous healing in this reference, and remember we talked about that, where we only express about 30% or 33% of our DNA, moving up to 44% in the fourth density, whereas the Pleiadians, from what I've I've heard in different videos, probably from Elena's video, but I'm not positive, that, oh, it might have been Cryon, it's actually Cryon, that the Pleiadians express 80% of their DNA, which is funny because my business name is 3344, Twin Flames 3344, and my destiny number is 80. So again, in order to have a spontaneous healing, Cryon always refers to that as a moment of using 100% of your DNA, which is just really, getting into that God state of a really deep meditation. So you can heal yourself. You just need a moment of 100% of using all of your DNA. So again, focusing, doing a deeper, a longer meditation perhaps to get into that state where you feel that energy. For me, it feels like energy pushing you down. It's like on your way to levitating. I don't know another way to describe it. It just feels like another human is literally holding you down on the bed with their energy. And yet at the same time, you want to lift up. It's like that implosion, explosion energy of 0 point. Okay. So that's coming up. So then with the Rolfing too, I was getting, like normally I'm facing northeast when I'm doing this right now. And I was being guided with the sunrise and sunset. And this will come up in the read too regarding churches. The altar is always on the east side, which means they're facing at the altar. They're standing looking towards the west, whereas the congregation would be looking east, which is very interesting, I thought. And that also corresponds with coming up in these reads that in the sunset, you always see your relatives reflecting back at you. So therefore, it's like you looking west and them looking east as the congregation reflecting back at you, just like in the church. Okay. So again, whatever way you normally face, maybe you want to go the other way around, or maybe they're just guiding us to look west. Or again, Rolfing, do whatever you do all the time that's unbalanced and do it with the other side in order to release some more energies. So then Excalibur was coming up, the sword out of the lake, the Lady of the Lake, and the eyes habit I was getting as silver and gold. And of course I was getting, Rudolph, silver and gold. So that was coming up. And the top two spots that are silver and the gold in the sword Excalibur and the Holy Grail. And then yesterday in a health advertisement, Holy Basil was coming up yesterday. So that was coming up as well, because Holy Basilica, you always hear that in the church, and the Church of Holy Basilica. So the sword Excalibur and the Holy Grail, which is that beautiful gold cup, as opposed to the sword Excalibur, which is coming up as the second place, the sword out of the stone, and the Holy Basil, the S of the sword Excalibur. The sword is S word, like instead of the F word, the S word, X Cali and Burr, right? Because Cali can be very cold, and their tail. And then the Holy Grail is the whole E or energy, G, which is God or the grid, rail, the whole E, energy, grid or God, rail, or grr, if it's the negative perspective of that, and ail, an ailment, to sleep or walk or work the land. I am that I am, ego, egg, the oak tree, and God, the holy communication that the sword's been released, and we are ready for the Holy Grail to be filled with stronger light, which is coming up per Sam the Illusionist video that he just did, that we're going to get a big download on the 21st of December, because we're now ready to receive it. And so I looked up Basilica, because as I tell you all the time, I wasn't raised in church or anything. So Basilica the definition is a royal hall. The word comes from royal hall, royal king, or chief, a special place set aside, or an oblong hall for dispensing justice. And there was a picture in Wikipedia.org of St. Francis of Assisi, which I was in the old St. Francis of Assisi before whatever happened. I forget if it was a fire or there's some kind of destruction to the church and it had to be redone, right? But I was there before that. I was, when I was very young, when I was married to my first husband, who was Italian, he took me to St. Francis of Assisi, and we had a private backroom mass with a blue-eyed, brown-eyed monk with two girls sitting cross-legged on the floor. And boy, that was an interesting experience. And I don't know if I was 20. I was like 20, very young, 23, 24, 25, no older than that. I forget which year it was that we did that. But it was really funny because I wasn't raised religiously at all, but my family is a Jewish history. And my ex-husband was Catholic, obviously. He was from Italy. And we had never discussed changing religion or anything like that. That wasn't, I'm not even going to go into all that. But I took the bread and I just start crying, because for me this was very holy and significant. And for him, everyone just takes communion without thinking twice about it. And right, initially you're only supposed to take communion if you've done confession. And I knew he hadn't confessed, and he had a whole lot to confess for. He wasn't a very nice person. He had a very sweet, pure side, but he also had a very abusive side. And so I started crying when they passed the wine to me, and I'm like, I can't. And meanwhile, he's trying to convince the monk there that he wanted him to tell me to convert my religion, which is really funny. And the monk just looked at him like he was a little crazy and kind of ignored him. And then, so anyway, St. Francis of Assisi came up here. And again, Basilica. And Assisi, for me, the C was coming up, the SSI. And SSI means if, as in math functions at IFF, if and only if, or equality, biconditionally, is what SSI means. So here's two SSIs with CZ. I'm balancing that, again, like Rolfing. And then in definition of this, the APSE came up, which is a term used in regards to the church, the way churches are put together. So, of course, I'm not familiar with it. But that means the especially rounded east end of the church or with the altar, the bishop's throne, or the case in which relics, an actual case, it's like a suitcase, which the relics of saints and stuff are kept. In astronomy, APS or APSE means the nearest and furthest points to the center of gravitational attraction for a body in orbit, usually called apsis, and there's that cis again. Also, the aspen tree came up under that definition. So it's really cool that Basilica came up with the Holy Basil. So then it was taking me back to those things like the olive tree and the pine cone that, when grown in a place where they're not meant to grow, develop these very strong qualities that help us. So like the pine cones in northern Canada, or the pine trees rather, and the olive trees in Morocco. The same thing was coming up for me as basil, the holy basil, which I don't know where it would grow for it to be most potent. But again, that was coming up as well. And I've always brought up the waters of Venice being a very special place because they're so polluted. Whatever I know they're going to find stuff in there growing that they're using now probably because of its potent abilities. So it's that same theory, just like the adrenochrome stuff, where when you torture a person, it accentuates that quality that they want to get out of that person, which is why they abuse the babies. So in the picture, and I want to show you the picture of St. Francis of Assisi because it was just so beautiful, and also the patterning I wanted you to see because there's some coding in here that I guess you need to know. So just take that in, how beautiful it is. And you can look that up on Wikipedia if you like. And so I'd drawn down the arches, the steepled arch, and then they have a second steepled arch, and then kind of like an arch that's like a wingspan of a bird flying. And then above that, where it creases in, where the bird's body would be, is an upside down heart. So it's very interesting. Okay. So, and then right at noon, at high noon, the person who was doing my yard for me finally finished. He actually showed up right at noon on the dot to pick up the last of the bagged garden stuff that he had taken care of for me. So that was like him finishing the job completely, and that was right at noon. And then at 12:01, going back to the read, the indigo energies coming up here is whole and complete, contemplating the mysteries of life, looking at the star in the third eye energies, and then moving your body, walking or running to go within, right? It's very meditative when I jog. And release stuck energies where the land meets the sea, meets the sky, and so do I, which is then the inspiration that comes from within, is the fire. Water, 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 splash, drink, dolphin, Lemuria, the chariot, the vehicle of infiltration for emotional well-being. The crystal with 20 sides was coming up here with the water, ascending through the wake-up call. Sun rays through the water and crystal equal here the rainbows, the rainbow bridge. Between the light of the sun coming into the crystal of the water is the rainbow bridge it's showing you another way of saying how the being impassioned arises from looking at the sun, right, hitting the water. And we're just talking where the land meets the sea, where the sea meets the sky, is where then you meet your inspiration. And that's the rainbow bridge. And I'm getting the rainbow connection from the Muppets, the Muppet movie. The beacon here of Atlas, shine on as you, being the rock, like the rock of Gibraltar, the rock of Atlas, for other waves to bounce off of. Grounding and integrating and mastering, and notice this comes up as GIM, which is the gym, which references Atlas as well, the gym and working out, and the receiving of love. The emerald green chambers, and I was going into the heart, right, the emerald order of the heart here, and then cellophane flowers of yellow and green towering over your head. So that was coming up from Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, but they were changing it to Lu, as in Lucifer, seas in the sky with diamonds. And then they were continuing me on with the girl with the sun in her eyes gone, but then picture yourself on a train in a station, and suddenly someone is there at the turnstile. The girl with the kaleidoscope eyes has returned. Lu sees you, the sky, with diamonds. Or in other words, love you see in the sky sparkling as the sun reflects upon the water. You see, I love you, says the Knight of Cups from their emerald green heart. And then Lamente was coming up. And it's kind of like Lamente. I don't know if that's the way you say lament in Italian, but it's a cross between Lament and Amenti, the halls. The halls of Lament were coming up, though. So I was guided to Lament first. And this was at 12:21, by the way. The halls of Lament. And this was from crossway.org, the 4 basics to lament or healing. Number 1, to turn to God. Laments talk to God about pain, even if it's messy, because silence is not healthy. Number 2 is complain, telling your struggles. Number 3, ask for help. You have to ask because they can't help you unless you ask. Helps you renew your trust, which is number 4, trust. So then, of course, I went to the halls of Amenti and the sphere of Amenti. So the staff, the rod and staff comes up here as the sword comes up as the blue flame as the halls, and then the sphere as the rod and the moon. Okay? So again, some of this information was coming up from ascensiondictionary.com, but I wasn't really comfortable in there, so I left there and went to ascensionglossary.com. But it was coming up as the halls of Amenti and the sphere of Amenti were coming up as the staff being the blue flame, or the sword, as that came up in the read. The sword is this number 2, the gold being the number 1 spot, right, the Holy Grail. But the halls are coming up as the blue flame and the sword, whereas the sphere, or the moon, is coming up as the rod. the align those two, right? So the sphere and the sword, or the halls, and again we're referencing Akashic records, align the halls to open into Tara. So from Ascension Glossary, the time portal that holds the race blueprint field to allow the fragmented human souls to re-evolve back to their original blueprint as 12D crystal with a K being. So the Akash, primarily Syrian ambassadors of Syria and their administrative councils here, as the Syrian Lodge Hall that oversaw the 60 networks as the portal for star and indigo. And notice it was just one star came up in the card prior to this. And here is like separating indigo from star, right? The one who's the star as opposed to the one that's the indigo warrior. It's like the rod and staff kind of energies. The 60 networks as the portal for the twins, the star and indigo races to incarnate through the Amenti halls. The Azurite, or the Task Force Council, to support human embodiment of the Jesus Christ and Yeshua mission to repair these networks and secure the Amenti field, to carry out the covenant at Palador to recover lost souls of Tara from 1 dimension to 5 dimension. But this had failed, and this is an article from a long time ago. I'm not sure. It'll come. I think I wrote it down. Anyway, the initial mission failed, so the inner gates were sealed, and LR, which references to the Luciferian rebellion, was disbanded from teams early 2004, which is very interesting because that's when I started a relationship that lasted 11 years, which then ended the year that I met my twin. And then Paladorians placed instruction or sets in the Earth's core so that the souls that were trapped from the Terran explosion could manifest by incarnating into 3D, or the first harmonious universe, the first harmonic universe. The Egyptians carry this knowledge after the grid of records were destroyed in the Atlantean cataclysm. Okay, so it's basically just explaining to you what happened. So, and then I was asking about, so what about Amenti in 2015, which is the year that I met my twin, and this was at 1241, which 12 is the Hanging Man, 41 is the Ace of Cups. And this was written, so then I was guided to this website at 5/31/2015, which is right before I met my twin, and actually 5/31 is the day I left my job the following year. And this was from Anyasa channel, so ANYAISA channel.blogspot.com. This was her specific channel. So she's describing her experience back in 2015. Somehow she was able to temporarily distort a wormhole in the trajectory of the halls of Amenti. She's describing her experience, met by a creature with fangs and nude with gray skin, and she was demonstrating like example pictures of what that might be, kind of Hulk-like, but more dark, perhaps with fangs and teeth and nails and stuff like that. But she was saying that he was a guard. And she held up a scroll that she didn't even realize she had, and he could read it, but she couldn't. It was in a language that she didn't understand, but he read it, and he was able to let her in from like 30 feet away from what she said, or 30 yards, whatever it was. So she was looking for a document in the library stacks, and all of a sudden an electric Tesla coil that was blue lights up so that she could find it by her sensing alone. And then she said, "Got it, get me out," on a rope. So she was connected to a rope or a cord that pulled her back. And after this, she did energy work on a person from afar, or distance Reiki, and he wanted to be one to understand the old ways or the new human. So again, this was the upgrading to dealing with the new human and us being able to heal them. And then she did an update on June 2nd, 2015, as the creature asked her for the document back that she had took from the library as he appeared in her room. And it was cracking me up because you're saying, it really is a library. I have to return what I took out. So then she brought up HAARP, HAARP, which was so interesting because I kept asking in the cards yesterday, because one of them is Archangel Sandalphon holding a harp. And my twin had brought up a harp too. When we talked about what I played, he said, do you play the harp? What do you play the harp? So the harp was coming up very significantly here. And I've been looking at the card yesterday. Well, what are you trying to tell me with the harp in this picture for Sandalphon? So then, of course, HAARP came up here, which is a high-frequency active auroral research program studying the ionosphere, which was their main facility in Alaska, was shut down in 2013 to make way for the next level. And she was talking about quantum computing and nanotechnology that may be related to that next step. And this is in 2013. She had something then she found she had something implanted on the back of one of her teeth. The dentist has said it had to have been applied around age 5 or 6. She connected that to being in Nelson, British Columbia in Canada in the summer or fall of 75 or 76, where she would have been that age 5 or 6. And then with memories of being strapped to a chair and medical procedures being done on her. So obviously she was talking about, she didn't go into details about that, but about being abducted. Which took me back too, because as soon as she said that, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I remember being in Cape Cod with my parents, with my family. And the memory I have there was so disturbing because, my mom wasn't an easy mom. And she forced me to eat a lot of things, but she never made me eat tomatoes because I hated tomatoes when I was young. But at this camp that she left us out with the counselors forced me to eat the tomatoes, even though I didn't want them. And I'm like, how could this be? Even my mother who makes me eat everything doesn't force me to eat tomatoes. So, but that's what it took me to for some reason, around the same age. So this HAARP is, and this was from October 30th, 2012, is a geophysical weapon of mass destruction. One installation on a super DARN, D-A-R-N, highway, an array of high-frequency radars now coming or now crossing across most of the northern and southern hemispheres. It operates as a major Arctic facility, and we've talked a lot about the Antarctic, but here they're talking about the Arctic facility. But again, this was disbanded. Of the HAARP research station, which was related to Air Force-owned territory near Gakona, Alaska. And that was geoengineeringwatch.org. So this was all about mind control and weather manipulation, which we've brought that up before about weather manipulating. There are a lot of the weather and earthquakes and things like that they can actually cause to happen. And there was a book she's specifically quoted by Dr. Nick called Angels Don't Play This HAARP, with HAARP. Advances in Tesla technology and the goal of the electromagnetic warfare and achieving a full spectrum of dominance by 2020, which of course their mission failed. So back to the Emerald Heart in the reed with the Knight of Cups and the family greeting you at sunrise at your back means you're facing west in order to get your wish. In a transition with diamond light, to breathe and fly free in the sun, take your key with you on your path to sunset through arcs and steeples, bridges and castles, or protective walls and castle walls. Remember to set your boundaries daily with a higher love light and patience. Balance needed with the King of Wands passions through high heart, the Rose Mother, which came up at 111 here, the Rose Mother compassion in the higher heart of aqua and gold, and then stretching up to connect and attune as the Queen of Wands to release stuck energies, and then the Empress of Gaia and creation and abundance to expand with the flower of life. So then the Blue Mother, present with gifts, with ancestors, bridging an energetic exchange of the past and showing gratitude and allowing you to show gratitude back to them of the mother's lineage that brought you forward as a culmination of all of it. Detaching from drama and look up at 115, the shadow side of Magician Embodiment, the 37 of Unconditional Love and the King of Cups. Remember, at the end of every day, you are held in the sunset of your ancestors, reflecting back your light at 116, which is then the Magician and the Tower, which is also your epiphanies and that sexual exchange, any kind of sudden events between. So the underlying energy from this read was the electromagnetic grid and the push and pull of the twin flames and the mission of truth and balance, bridging with Metatron and magnetic service to inspire bridges of purification of connection. The first section here was the inner child, the innocent indigo, but the star also came up. The whole with the weight of the world upon their shoulders, the Atlas mountain, the rock, and the free bird, and diamond light, with Lucy in the sky, with diamonds reflecting upon the water. The second section here was the staff, out of the moon or rock, the spheres of Amenti and the sword truth halls of Amenti, with free movement and union of the hermit of the Emerald Order heart, not harp, on the angel's journey to the sunset from the sunrise, or in other words, movement and then stillness. The third section is the Holy Grail. Your cup runneth over to infinitum and epiphanies, energetic exchange and replenishment of love light and water vehicle. The creative heart, the hydrated vehicle, the family at sunrise for self-satisfaction, and when the King of Wands gets out of hand, the balancing act needed to go back to the monk key in the middle. And so it is. Be it. You're it. Passing the baton, it's your turn to complain, ask, and trust. And so it is. All right, so that was just my first read from this morning. For me, that was very significant. So now we're going to go back and do everything else in order. So that means going back to let's see. I might have two messages. Did I do that one already? Give me 1 second. Yeah. I actually have two messages of the day for you. I didn't realize. So this is the Metatron read from yesterday. So let me give you the picture of that. All right, so this was yesterday's Metatron read, and I have to bring it forward to you because there are messages there too. Okay. So the underlying energy here, and this was from yesterday, where it was the 7 of the Chariot, and the day added up to 24, which is the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands in the Chariot, moving, ascending, all right, traveling. And also a crystal housing for plants was coming up. It was very still. And the colors that came up in this Metatron read were blue and silver alone. That was it, which is very much the energy of the sword and the indigo kind of energy. This was at 8:20 yesterday morning, which is the Strength card and the 20 of Judgment, the wake-up call. And the underlying energy was family, chakra, and boundaries. And the first card out was the Void, which is 48, walking away and within. So the message here, and by the way, we had air. I think that might be the only one. The only element that came up, yep, is air. So as yesterday was air, today was water. So the Void. And the Rainbow Bridge, which is inspiration. Aligning with the bridge, with chakras and kundalini, to release stuck energy of the wounded warrior. Or I then stop to do the shoulder wing stretch. Codependency and what's locked in at the root, as the Knight of Swords has the key and just needs to identify the wound. Creation, abundance, and the flower of life, mothering, presence, and gifts in holding space. The big bird, hips to neck, and the rainbow triangle and wings to send out that love light to all the cells in your body and move your wings. The Queen of Swords to release all that light out to those around you as well. Who is your inner child today, and what are you birthing? Make sure to put your feet in the grass. And then cubic versus cubits were coming up, which are totally different measurements. But again, of course, cubic has to do with volume of a cube, but 1 foot equals 0.67, and then 11 threes, and then 5 9 in cubits. And then 1 cubit equals 1.4763779527559 feet, which is approximately 1.5. So again, it brings back the 144 divided by 7, which equals 11 cubits. So in our measurements, it's a whole different, long number where it's very obvious that it's meant to be 11 cubits. So grounding support for energies coming from Ganymede, Jupiter's moon, the ice cube, the crystal housing for plants, and new fluorescent or luminescent plants coming, which Elena Denon had talked about. Love, relationships, and harmony. Magenta, aqua, golden heart. The aqua gold can look green, blossoming the rose. Balance needed for the King of Wands in the heart, with the diamond light in the air, transitioning to fly free, as the warrior of light is pulling the sword from the moon rock, the third rock from the sun, or earth, in the discovery of truth, and the silver light of purity in union, and golden wings of wisdom. Okay, so here the silver is coming up as purity of the sword and the truth and the light, and then the gold wings of your wings and your wisdom. Where the land meets the sea meets the air is where inspiration lies to move your body, hermit, allowing the transformation and expansion, the pursuit of light and dark, standing in the light, holding space for the shadow just behind you, as the black become indigo when the moonlight shines upon it. So then at 10:28, which 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, 28 is the Twin Flames, or that choice of path, the beach, where the land meets the sea, walk, jog, play with shells and messages in a bottle, and this can be anything. It can be next to your creek as well. It's just giving you the kind of energetic mapping of what they're talking about. The beach where land meets sea, walk, jog, play with shells and messages in bottles, speak and be heard, communicate to be free. Again, and what just came up in Lament is that silence is not healthy. So make sure to speak out what you're feeling, to get it out of you so it doesn't get stuck. Even to the ocean and birds, allow the message back to be received, right? Once you put it out there, the birds may be speaking back to you, so receive that too. Go with the flow, one-to-one, with nature and your higher self, creator, and Gaia, and then review and reflect a purple moon. So of course then I had to look up purple moon, and it's referencing the blue moon, which means 2 moons in 1 month, but in April. So I don't know when the next April purple moon is, but it's not anytime soon because I looked up through 32. So the last one was 1942, which has a pink moon in the same month. It's very rare. So saying a purple moon just means it's very rare. On March 29th, 42, from the New York Times, was the last time there were 2 moons in April, or full moons. They were April 1st and April 30th of 42. The blue moon originates from 13 full moons in a year as opposed to 12, and volcanic dust, which kicked up and makes it look more purple, making the moon look blue. Or it was the third, or it used to be the 3rd or 4th moon in a quarter, actually, not per month, but then it ended up being per month. So 2023, there's 2 moons in August at 10:53, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Knight of Swords. So then back to Ganymede, the moon of Jupiter, and this is from wikipedia.org. The satellite of Jupiter with a metallic core, the only moon known to have a magnetic field. It orbits Jupiter about 7 days and is in a 1 to 2 to 4 orbital resonance with moons Europa and Io, respectively. Silicate rock and water, iron-rich liquid core, and an internal ocean, like we talked about on Ganymede, about Elena's video. Or no, it wasn't Elena's, it was the Army soldiers video with Michael Sala. Talked about the inner oceans that he went into on Ganymede. So there's an internal ocean that's greater than the water, than all of the Earth's oceans, with thin oxygen atmosphere, O1, O2, and possibly O3, which is ozone, and minor atomic hydrogen. The next mission to Jovian system is JUICE, as in the word juice, which is the Eurospace Agency's Jupiter Lay, what did I write there? Moon Explorer of 2023, but you can look up JUICE, you can get the acronym meaning. That's due for 2023. And the Russian astrobiology mission of Laplace-P may possibly be in partnership with JUICE. Our moon is now free from their wounds, was the message I was getting yesterday, which led into today as well, getting a lot about the sword being out of the moon. The underlying energy of the sunrise with family and self-satisfaction, charging up and on your way. The first section here was the void, roots, wings, and heart. The second section being crossing the bridge, inspire and create with inner child and authentic self. Who are you and how to balance your child with the King of Wands. The third section here is the untapped wounded warrior release, and then the mother to hold and ground with the moon cycles, love to the cold earth in the winter, and transition in crystal light flying free. As I brought up already, that Sam the Illusionist had talked about, we're getting a big download on the 21st of light because we're ready. And that came up in Michael Sala's video? I watched Michael Sala and Elena, but then I also was watching Elena with Laura Eisenhower. So in both of their videos, a lot of this information was coming up that that we've been told when our vibration is a certain level, when we're ready, it's like automatically triggered to come in, which Elena was talking about the what's it called, the Intergalactic Federation, which is who she met recently, because they basically said when the vibration was high enough, then they were called to come in, that it's time. So this is again saying the same kind of thing. Untapped wounded warrior release, and then the mother held, ground with moon cycles, love to the cold earth, and transition in the crystal light, flying free now. So the message of the day that came up next, which I didn't show you a picture of, I don't know if I have it handy now because I didn't realize that was there too. But anyway, let me give you this one real quick because there's a lot of information that came in with it. No, I don't have it accessible here. All right, so this message of the day was 11:21 to 23 in the morning yesterday. The underlying energy was the unicorn, then the compass, the strength card reversed, and then concern. The 5D collective guard with one-to-one direction towards gifts, in need of strength, courage, and working hard, perhaps being tired and weak, taking forever. The man with concerns. The frog is talking to the buffalo, and perhaps the camel being independent but blue, looking the other way, all of them. But the truth of the dolphin, who's friendly, speaking their truth, and who's very social, and the unicorn speaking from their heart, standing guard of the 5D, of the King of Cups, unconditional love, with a time crunch, and the loving woman present with gifts or connection, or their connection is a gift. The Page of Wands inspired as the Knight of Pentacles reversed is stuck, overworked or not working out, and never ending, working to carry a heavy load, while 2 buck are watching, in need of strength, courage, at the house of judgment of the main male, as the Queen of Cups is working hard, and an older man is concerned at 132, which is the Magician and the Journey. And my blue jay showed up right at that moment on the tree. They're so beautiful when they come in. They were looking for my seed, but there wasn't any out there. And then when I put it out there, they fly away. They come back later sometimes, but not always. The first section here was the elephant, the hawk, clearing together, one ground and one in the air, as the elephant is cracking the whip with the rod and staff, or the justice of the rod and staff, which we just talked about, right? The sphere and the halls of Amenti. Protecting the heart, and keeping to self with a message of concern of patience, balance, and taking one step at a time. And notice the elephant has huge steps as they clear with each step. The hawk is clearing with their wings, so there's the grounder and the flyer, and the King of Wands with petty annoyances or rugrats or making a mess. And the King of Wands comes up as the off-balance energy. The King of Cups here upright is happily with themselves, a wealthy man in transition, or feeling pleased with a job well done. The second section here is the dragon and the eagle, close up and from a distance. The dragon's able to discern high vibrational energies from lies and healing with gifts. The eagle is handling nature, public, decisions, judgment, and announcements, reaping rewards of the Hierophant mature man, reaping rewards of a split, a divide, and a need for the truth here. The dragon keeping an eye on things while the ego is doing the work. The third section here is the cobra and the elk. The cobra teacher and the elk hothead. As the cobra is looking straight ahead, the elk at cobra is looking at cobra steaming because they're not paying attention to them. The cobra high priestess is lucky in release with or to the shadow lover or Gemini or twin. The elk with family needing to use their intuition on the wounded warrior's path, which they should be on the fool's path, not the wounded warrior's path. And that's coming up as, like the divine masculine. And then released by secret passion, where the fourth section here is the tiger and the collective awakening, where the tiger is stalking the nest with the golden egg and the dream, looking back at their present imprisonment or being imprisoned by their gifts, perhaps at 217, which is the high priestess and dreams coming true or healing. The snake or the collective awakening, the key to the freedom or release with the world upside down due to union or adjudication or dealing with court issues here or just legal stuff. The fifth section here is the horse, the whale, the cosmic egg, where the horse is with the old whale who's exhausted with collective awakening from a different point of view. The horse with Atlas and the weight of the world and burdens, religion, and triumphing with main female. The whale is tired and confused, coming together for work and stable courtship, or perhaps with a regular client. At 225, which is the high priestess and the Knight of Wands, the collective crown of the loving man and the twin flames or choice of path with the wounded warrior, Knight of Wands, kneeling down, would you do me the honor? As Mr. Ed is helping the main female triumph. Mr. Ed comes up for me, those of you not familiar, usually comes up as God in their humorous way. Mr. Ed helping the main female triumph. The loving man's crown is opening here as the wounded warrior, Knight of Wands, is giving themselves a pat on the back, triumphing at work just when they're about to give up. And then the sixth section, which is the dear one, the bear, and the sea serpent. The dear one, perhaps Scorpion or Aquarius, the child in transition, needing to call the King of Wands about legal paperwork, perhaps, which is funny because I just had to deal with some insurance stuff right there. The bear is looking at details, defenseless to the energies of a lot of incoming from loving mature woman, and that could be a lot of back and forth messages and things like that. Creative planning here with the Knight of Cups, taking a risk or assessing risk, powerless to the money out to expose a closed case, or having to pay for a coffin or funeral service. And again, it's not about dealing with the loss here, it's about dealing with the practical sides of things. And then the seventh section here is the lion, the fire ants, the swans, and the peacock. The lion's in control here, while the group or collective freaks out, drawn into the oozing wound, or all gathering to see the two swans come together as one with the peacock. The lion with well wishes and love walking away and within from wise privileged lady or after hanging out with them. The group is exposing powers and towers to find peace in completion of a project or empty nest. And the swans suddenly stars celebrating romantic moon child or perhaps a daughter or inner little girl. The peacock is an angry man from Mars with a choice over bad influences, over indulgences or third-party message, or the seal broken, the vehicle of infiltration. Remember we talked about back in whatever year it was, that they had to seal up the Hall of Records because of the dark energies. Well, it could be 3 generations of females here and 1 angry man. The Leo could be diving deep to expose the powers that be, and sudden dreams of revelations or frustrations that are coming up. With Scorpio here too, leaving to find peace and self-satisfaction, or headed to the bar or chalet to overindulge. It's like after a long project going out and getting drunk. The privileged lady with home or at home back to self, so her inner child can deal with messages and mailings prepared, no longer needing to be sent. So this could be doing something and then you find out you no longer need to do it. And again, also you can break the seal now. Or the daughter moved out, or a female meeting up with an angry man at the bar, or to get their message across at 340, which is the Empress or Gaia, and the 40 of the Page of Cups, that innocent love. We have Leo, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces, and Cancer here too. So then I have another message of the day here. This was from last night, and that picture I have for you. So this is in 2 parts because it was pretty big. Okay, so that's the first part of the message of the day. For those not familiar, this is the Animal Spirit deck, the Lenormand Reverie, the Gilded Tarot, and then the Kipper deck. And then the last little part was here, which wasn't so little. Okay, so this is this read here. Okay, so the underlying energy, and this was at 7:07 last night to 7:10 when I was dealing. 7:07 is the 2 sevens of Chariots. There also could be 70 there, which is the 2 of Swords. Excuse me, the 2 of Pentacles, the Juggler. And then 10 is the Wheel of Fortune there with 7 of the Chariot. The message of the day is the Starfish, underlying energies, the Mice, which is 23, the King of Wands, again, being messy or being the difficult one, right? Because that could be petty annoyances there. With Chariot reversed, and then the pathway of the Wounded Warrior here. Superficial, petty annoyances, rugrats, pests, messages to clean up, broken, stuck, or won't move, a breakdown or a breakup, and the Wounded Warrior's pathway lined with transformations, right? Because they're on the Wounded Warrior pathway, which is of getting out of being the victim. While the cheetah is engaged and mouse just outside the ring themselves, so it's like in a boxing match, the cheetah is in the ring and the mouse is just outside the ring, all nervous, they're going to get hit. As the deer one, the doe-eyed, and the hot-head elk, sacred chakra in the ring with broken seal becomes the superficial star in a knockout. Meanwhile, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, with wise social group, who transcribe their dictation, with any luck, will be a sudden stardom of the man from Mars at 28, or the Y in the road, facing off his loving side, 2 as 1, with a rose perhaps, the Queen and King of Wands with rugrats, or the Queen of Wands sees the King of Wands as a pest. And then we have Justice of the Emperor upright and the 10 of Pentacles upright, of the Emperor's wealth and power, recovering or letting them back in need of peace, and to be put back together again, like Humpty Dumpty. There could be tickets to see train, or to take a train, or 2 tickets to paradise, perhaps, with Empty Nest and the Knight of Wands, with a 21-gun salute, or perhaps just 3, anyway, as the King of Cups, as the King of Cups child is on their own. They may have left a situation with judication of union or going to court with a worldly mature man, or Taurus on the Wounded Warrior's path. The King of Wands and the Knight of Wands. There could be a father and child relationship here that's broke, or broke down with pests between them, as the first section here was the dragon, the vulture, the cobra, and the horse at 7:53, as one of the helicopters was going across last night. The dragon, the vulture, the cobra, and horse, and this could bring in the Venus retrograde as exes come back, and it doesn't necessarily just refer to your twin, it can refer to any exes coming back to clear those energies. And then the close-up of the eye was coming up here, but it was bringing in the movie Gigi for some reason, right, which is about a horrific life of a model, right, about all the drugs and all that kind of stuff. But the close-up here, eye of the wise vulture, right? And maybe that could be like a, like Janice. It's reminding me of Janice Dickinson, you know, a really old model, but now a wise vulture is coming up as the close-up of Gigi the movie and the eye of the wise vulture, the Cobra teacher, and Mr. Ed, of course. The dragon shadow, the polar ice melting all over the present state of imprisonment by gifts. And it was getting Big Brother, because we just talked about the Arctic pole. So it's getting like a polar cap melting because of Big Brother, whatever was released or abandoned. So then it shifts the energy of the ice that now is melting. At 756, which is the Chariot, and the 56 of the Two of Swords, being in your knowing about this. And then at 757, which is the Three of Swords and separation, the vulture and the snake in the garden, with venom and poisonous apples, destined as the vehicle to get in as the emperor goes to court. The polar bear bites the snake, who bites the spiritual one. The cobra in spiritual union is deceptive about their gifts, or offering them. The vulture is triggering the cobra, and the dragon is melting or crying all over their gifts, or lockdown with Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed, with wise counsel of two, and she like the wind, as the King of Wands with two letters in hand going to court or dealing with courthouse issues. But this is coming up as a gift, really. So again, this is the vehicle of infiltration, which may seem like bacteria or a virus, or may actually be, but in the end, it ends up being a gift in disguise, and it becomes the pearl. So Big Brother was definitely big coming up here. And then Nat showed up. Unforgettable, that's what you are. So this could be coming up as not only Big Brother, but as someone's literal Big Brother at 847. But Big Brother's coming up, and then Old Fart, the strict teacher, and a talking horse, but of course. Pushing buttons destined in deception of strength. And that could be deceptive, like the way somebody looks could be deceptive on how strong they are. Like maybe the old vulture. Oh, that's so cute. A female cardinal just landed on my planter to say hello. There you go. That might be a message for somebody. There's the male. Oh, they're so cute. The male's up in the tree as she was looking for food in my planter. But if I go outside, they always run away. Well, anyway, there's a couple here for you guys. So, and again, strength can be deceptive, right? So a small female can sometimes be much stronger than a large male. The cosmic egg and the golden egg here, where the cobra is tamed by the heart of gold. The crowning moment with the choice of doors on the fool's journey, ending the suffering and silence of the wounded warrior's journey, or the nightmare, with a message of concern of a higher love. The golden egg, or the golden child, of abundant flow, calling it out or making announcement, inspiring great fortune. On the fool's journey of abundance and fish, ending the pain and calling it as they see it. And again, abundance doesn't have to mean money. Abundance means whatever makes you happy. That's your abundance. It can be whatever. Just doing whatever you love to do. The third section here is the fox and the raccoon. The fox and the raccoon, maybe, I was writing peeking out, but I wrote peeping out, so somebody might be peeping for you guys. They were both hiding. They were so cute when I looked at the two. Both of their eyes were just like looking over the wall. The fox and the raccoon, peeking or peeping out over the wall. The fox is very confident, but the raccoon with their mask on and perhaps sad. The fox with multiple faces of vulnerability, but their energy is pretty clear, whereas the raccoon's in very dark, heavy energy. The King of Wands and the loving mother of nature. This is coming up as the King of Wands and a loving mother, or perhaps a mature woman, or maybe a very natural woman, and the raccoon cracking the whip with rod and staff, coming clean with romantic little girl, or mother and daughter, or mother and her inner child, her own self. Or the fox sees the woman, and the raccoon sees the little girl. So there's very different perspectives here. The fourth section here is the dolphin, the hawk, the eagle, and the lizard. the fish, the bat, the moth, and the unicorn, the elephant, the lamb, and the peacock. Happy-go-lucky with the hawk clearing the way for them, and then the eagle coming in to trigger the lizard, the fish out of water, and the bat lost in space. The moth to the flame as the unicorn stands guard of the collective. The elephant, lamb, and bat are watching me, and perhaps the dolphin, lizard, and peacock too, but it's kind of hard to tell the way they're looking. With the dolphin with the Two of Cups direction from the hawk or eagle in a losing battle with their shadow lover. The hawk, Knight of Wands, committed to reap rewards of family, and the Queen of Cups, who's working really hard. The eagle is presently the power lady coming in for the kill, to deal with poor health care perhaps, or perhaps someone who's in poor health. At 9:20, the Hermit and the Judgment call. The lizard is romantic pup, Knight of Pentacles, a humble and loyal servant, going back to make it official. The scattered fish, in a breakthrough with their lover, is released from cell block tango and or imprisonment. The bat, the space cadet, loving lady, or with her on their mind, her presence, her gifts, new passion for the wealthy man. And then the moth at 9:23, which is the Hermit and the King of Wands, the Hermit obviously rebalancing the King of Wands, the moth to the flame, family expansion and freedom in co-creating or working together, as the man with sudden thoughts of a woman. The unicorn in high vibrational discernment, aligning with the Queen of Wands thief, or the Queen of Wands with a little thief, or the unicorn separating the wheat from the chaff at work, discovering who's on first and who's on second, I'm just getting now, is the thief here, right? This is going around in circles because everyone's saying somebody else did it. The elephant on a magic adventure with good news, leading the way to exposing death, endings, coffins, tombs, dark night, and cold case files, transitioning or to catch a thief. At 9:29, another helicopter was overhead, as the lamb with a target over their head, and the elephant with a laser mark on their head. The lamb burdened by Atlas lover, and the wise privileged lady, or burdened by wanting to hang out with them. The peacock is confused on how to get to the middle to come together with new information and clarity on the journey of despair of the wounded warrior, or the pair who are now on the fool's journey. The direction of the pair of the Knight of Wands, commitment to the power lady, present with romantic pup who's enamored with them, with loving lady and her gifts, with growth and fruit and her high vibe discernment on the magic adventure through Atlas Mountains to the olive trees, the ones that survived the worst of it. Ending conflict or losing battle of reaping rewards of the Knight of Wands reversed and the Knight of Pentacles upright, released or freed with new passion to work with and align with the magic journey with their lover, and news or clarity here of the shadow lovers, the Queen of Cups in a losing battle with official fool in the masked tango of the man with ego, with sudden thoughts of a woman whose heart he stole and left for dead, a wise privileged one, and now he in despair of the pair. The fifth section here is the wolf, the oyster, the phoenix, the stingray, the crocodiles, the dragonfly, and the snake. And the wolf was coming up. I just finished watching the interview with Laura Eisenhower, Elena Danaan, and Robert White, who was talking about his mother's abductions, which was very interesting. I would definitely recommend watching that. And that was under Laura's website, I think, on YouTube. So the wolf here, stunned, dazed, about being silenced, clammed up, and now he, the phoenix, rises, and he was talking about like his mother was silenced by, you know, the men in black, basically, who threatened to take her child away from her if she ever talked about the truth after a spaceship landed in her backyard, or it was right there. So the phoenix rises here, the stingray plugged in and turned on, as the crocodile cuts off their nose to spite their face, the dragonfly, two as one, hearts pulsing as the collective awakens. So the wolf, at 9:47, the hermit and the synchronicities of the Seven of Cups, the wolf is exposing lies and inspired by unexpected income or unexpected incoming, as the oyster is stable at home with patient angel and occupied by exchange, as the phoenix on subconscious journey with the negative past, and now the Knight of Cups are with their community. The stingrays plugged in at a public meet to stars and dreams and healing the main female. And some of the stuff they were talking about, that Robert was talking about, was number one, his birthday was on the harmonic convergence. His birthday was August 18th, 1987. And that another quote he said was that DNA basically equals currency of the universe. Because they're talking about, right, our lives are basically currency being traded as opposed to money. So, and then wanting to ground their genes on Earth, right? So we're all hybrids of ETs. So it's like the dark agenda wanting to take over by getting their DNA, you know, of the draconians, of the reptilians, to get that into your DNA so that they could take over with their, once they have enough DNA in the humans. But of course that didn't work. The crocodile fox sneaking away, keeping it hush-hush, knowing the twin is expecting them. The dragonfly with well wishes and love, the page of wands inspired by spaceships and Atlas, and no water to ground into. The collective awakening with the child in transition, making a fool of themselves perhaps in front of the house, or in front of the big house, or the gated community, who may be very judgmental. At 9:53, which is the Hermit and the Knight of Swords, with Saggy, Aquarius upright, and Aries reversed, and Scorpio and Pisces there as well. Okay, so now we have the twin flame read and the union read. I did both. 1, 2. Okay, there we go. The union read's pretty quick here. All right. So here's the union read. For those of you not familiar, let me just tap that. Okay. For those of you not familiar, this is 4D, 5D, 6D, feminine on the left, masculine on the right, bridge between them in the center, incoming divine feminine, outgoing divine masculine, underlying energies here of the tower, and then closing of the hanging man over here. And I'm going to show you the main read too while I'm doing this. All right, so this is the basic read in front of you on the table, which I'll turn the light on now for that. That's the main read from the Syrian Starseed deck, both of the Syrian Starseed deck, and you see the Lover's card here. And then we have the full 7-deck read here. It is a general read for all of the twins. The union read is more oriented towards the physical reunion, and then this is a general energy for all of the twins as well. So let's turn the light on and focus that in for you. All right, so this first one is for the union read, and this was at 8:48. And this was on the 6th, actually, not last night, but the night before. So this is 40, 5D, 60. The tower is the underlying energy. The center is the Page of Swords, or the message. And then we have the Hanging Man at the end. The sudden bold storm, or rush of energy, or event, epiphany, or sexual exchange. And actually, right when I was writing this, we had just had a big storm outside, but it was separate from this. But there's a message to hang out, or about seeing new perspectives, and the right knee block of the divine masculine and anger. The incoming divine feminine with the 6 of Pentacles, the Star, and the Ace of Pentacles, sharing dreams or helping dreams to come true with an offer of time, money, and effort, or a new life, and groundbreaking stuff. The 4D here is the Lovers, the 5 of Wands, and the King of Swords, as the divine feminine lovers may be fuming or fusing in rainbow light, as the divine masculine King of Swords, a strict disciplinarian, bridging with waves of flames, which is funny because I just bought some solar flames right before that. And then the lovers and mastering of thoughts and words, blind men and orphans, bridging in pursuit of happiness, or flames worshiping the humid sun together, and or an Indian summer perhaps for some. The 5D here is the 4 of Swords, the Page of Swords, and the Page of Cups. The divine feminine on break, rest, or meditation, perhaps the beach, in their 5D connection with the divine masculine, with the Page of Cups, with their heart open wide, or a message of love, or puppy love, making a splash. Bridging with the Page of Swords message, or little light, oh mine, at 9:38, which is the Hermit and the Queen of Cups. There could be children throwing themselves at the Hanging Man, or the divine feminine at the beach, and the divine masculine loving water sports, bridging in the snowy mountains with orbs all around. The 5D is the Nine of Cups, Knight of Cups, and the Two of Swords. The divine feminine with tie service for 9, or with the 9 and 6 rays of Mary Magdalene. And by the way, I watched David and the Elves that night. Emotionally sovereign and at peace, happy with self and getting their wish. The divine masculine with Two of Swords, floating and numb, or pups in their knowing, or exuding the love, bridging with the Knight of Cups in the green room, surfing in place in infinity coffee mug, water, or a water-made shark, like a sword shark that's shaped with water, and the King of Swords all gushy inside. The outgoing divine masculine being the Four of Pentacles, which for me in this deck is the divine masculine in the Crystal Batcave, Ascension, and the Six of Cups. The divine masculine's heart all toasty, the world complete with the Six of Cups soulmate or kids loving each other, and the divine masculine hanging out trying to understand his angry side. The divine feminine lovers in the 5D connect, getting their wish. The divine masculine with the King of Swords and the Page of Cups sending a message of love in the mists of Avalon, floating in their knowing. And the bridge between is the group endeavor, the competition or games, athletics or conflict or hot pursuit of the Page of Swords and the Knight of Cups, or heating up a message to be love. The divine feminine with Scorpio, Aquarius, and Gemini on their side, along with the Nine of Cups, the emotional sovereign, and the divine masculine with Pisces and Capricorn on their side, with the Page of Cups and the Knight of Swords, and the divine masculine's heart. In between them is the Page of Swords and the Knight of Cups. The overall number here was the 37 of the King of Cups and unconditional love. And the horizontal pillars were 11 of Justice, 4 of the Emperor, and the 22 of the Fool. And the vertical pillars were the 6 of the Lovers, 0, which for me is Source or Space, then 1 of the Magician, 13 of the Death card, 5 of the Hierophant, 2 of the High Priestess, 4 of the Emperor, 0, and 6 of the Lovers again. So the messages here came out as Justice for the Emperor on the Fool's journey, as opposed to the Wounded Warrior journey. Justice for the Emperor on the Fool's journey to unconditional love. And peace in magic transition of the 13th sign, Ophiuchus coming up here, and the Queen of Swords with the Page of Cups, lovers with the King of Cups and unconditional love, the Hierophant Queen of Wands with the Lover King of Cups, and the Hierophant High Priestess with the Emperor or the Page of Cups, lovers, and the King of Cups again, which is unconditional love, and Santa Claus is definitely coming up here. At 10:04, which is message received, I cut the Syrian Starseed deck in front of you on the table. And then at 10:15, IE star came up. So again, the star is coming up as opposed to the indigo. So it's like 1 is the star, 1 is the indigo. The 12 is the wheel, the turn for the better. Also destiny, and the 15 is the shadow side and the devil. And then I finished doing the clarifications at 10:28, which is the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the 28 of the Twin Flames, and that choice of path. The major arcana for the read in front of you were guidance, lovers, the wheel, higher self, and the star. Before the read was strength, and after the read was abundance and karma. Abundance is the Empress, and karma is judgment. And by the way, guidance is the Hierophant. 2 cups, 1 sword, 2 wands, 1 pentacle. So 21-21, very significant for any 12 and 21 energies. And here we have 21-21. That may be a significant year for some reason, 21-21. So when we get there, obviously most of us won't be alive in 21-21. But who knows? Okay. So we have the court cards here, Page of Cups and Queen of Swords, but also the 9 of Cups, the sovereign emotionally. And then after the read, the Page of Wands came up. And we had 22, 33, and 77 as the double digits. 22 is the Fool's journey, the Fool. 33 is the Christ vibration, standing up for oneself. And the 77 is the Sovereign. So those are the 3 energies that need to be here, right? Being the Fool with an open heart, taking a leap of faith in that Christ unity consciousness as your sovereign being. So there's the message there. And then we have the 37, which is unconditional love, as well as 2-3-4, shut the door to the old. We have the 6-7 of the Knight of Pentacles, the humble loyal servant. the 46 of the loving children hugging each other, and the 910 begin again and again and again. Each time you expand to go out, remember to balance, to come back to the center, to the 0 point, to the present moment. And the 23 of the King of Wands as well. The code line was all about healing, and it was broken up into Hia and Ling. And the code line was all about the number 936, which is the 369 energies of 9, 10, and 910 and 26 were the numbers that went into that. So 910 is 0 behind 91 for me, which is the central sun, reflecting the 19 of the sun. So we have the message on the code line here about healing. The key of Sophia and the Hermit, a high vibe DNA union of the student of guidance or the Hierophant, and the 2 journeymen with good news, bringing them in. And EC was coming up here, which are my maiden name initials, but it's also coming up as the EG, and whatever comes up for you for EC, but EG also, which came up here, which came up in the other message of the Holy Grail and the sword, Excalibur. So that was coming up as the EG of the energetic grid, but also the God energy. Also, teaspoons were coming up, and they were showing me the teaspoon as the keys. You know how your keys are on a ring, just like a teaspoon? They would all be on a ring with the tablespoon and stuff like that. The teaspoon was coming up as the keys of the 9 destined to the ladder of union. The Saggy, which is the God energy, seeker of guidance, to journey on and bring good news, to sleep or walk the land. The I am that I am, the ego, the oak tree, the egg, and the God taking a leap. It's like a graduation of size, right? 9 to 10 steps on the rungs of a ladder, right? As you go up the ladder to union, where the student seeks guidance to lead the way to God. I am that I am, idle and lazy, killing time, leaping and licking my wounds, sleeping or working the land. I am that I am, the ego, the oak tree, the God. This is very significant there. So this read starts out with the 9 of Cups, which is, again, that emotional sovereign. So obviously that character is very important here. So not only your 9 of Pentacles sovereignty in a practical way, but your emotional sovereignty here, which they come up as the masculine and the feminine. The masculine being emotionally sovereign and the feminine being practically sovereign. Looking back here with the underlying energies being the 3 of Wands reversed, the Strength card upright, the 7 of Wands upright, which is that Christ energy, the 3 of Swords reversed, and the 2 of Swords upright. Looking back at flame and being strong, standing up for self to heal and know, self-satisfaction and getting their wish. There's no choice here, frustrated, or no growth, with dark night howling at the moon and looking back, unable to conceive of such a thing. Dark night, endings and transition of lovers reversed without option, the wounded warrior's path, and the 3 of Cups upright and coming together to fall and dump a load, burdens or responsibilities, to confess, to be satisfied, coming together to take a load off, to drink and be merry, to get drunk and fall or embarrass oneself, self-satisfaction. The King of Wands reversed and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, packing to end the war, or the Queen of Pentacles reversed is ungrounded and Leo is cleaning up or taming the beast or packing post-war. Big mess to clean up here, from dog or pet, or somebody went ballistic or wrecked the house and I was just getting wrecking ball. Forgiving and learning at 1131, which is justice and the expansion of the 31, which can be groups playing and fighting or the pursuit of happiness and games and acting. But forgiving and learning, and beneath that, make the effort. Tackling the beast with big palms and big feet, showing off, flirting. The Page of Pentacles reversed perhaps was drunk and coming clean about everything, spilling the beans. Closing the distance gap, needing to swallow their pride after not having heeded the call or not calling, holding back an announcement. Or he got her drunk, leaving the truth out of bed, burned self and dumped the flowers, and there's no going back now. With Leo, Scorpio, Cancer upright, Gemini, Aries, Aquarius reversed. So relationship change came up here with number 56, the Two of Swords, being in your knowing and keeping your energy clear. At 1149, which is justice and getting your wish of self-happiness. And a happy ending with 93 being underneath relationship change, as the King of Cups is reversed and the King of Swords is reversed, coming clean together. Dissatisfaction or no cooking or can't cook, and the Page of Cups upright, Pisces or psychic, may be frustrated or unable to understand. Patient angel of a higher love, seeing the ship sail, present to the Hierophant, religion, establishment or marriage, or commitment, or a Taurus. Eating away or eaten away, or with the munchies, grass and Chinese, but Korean was coming up here as well, with chopsticks, blowing on the flame to keep it going. Skies clearing and legs clamped shut, or cramps, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. Lobster claw or clasp, Jupiter rising, the 24th Olympiad came up here. And that was XX1V, and it was based on harmony and progress, and guess where it was, but Korea. So I entered the 24th Olympiad to see what came up. So the National Science Olympiad, or NSO, from 2021 to 22 comes up. From last year it was May 1st, 21, so I don't know if it's the same date this year. And then the 1988 Summer Olympics came up, which was Korea and Seoul. To see what's brewing in Korea, Seoul. The first level exams were November 25th, 21, December 7th, 21, December 14th, 21. This is to get into that next Olympiad for the Science Olympiad. And then 2022 Winter Olympics, the 24th Olympiad in Beijing, China, which is February 2nd to the 20th of 2022. That's the Winter Olympics, this 24th Olympiad. So that was really cool that came up. So literally the 24th Olympiad came up, and here's the Winter Olympics, which I didn't know they were the 24th Olympiad. I don't think about the Olympics normally. So the last 3 consecutive Olympics to be held in East Asia after 2018 in South Korea, and that was from physical.org or phys.org, phys.org. So, and that was Pyeongchang, South Korea, 10/28/2021, which is my nephew's birthday. NASA's Juno probe. The science results after first 3D view of Jupiter is their atmosphere and the Great Red Spot. So those were the things that came up with the 24th Olympiad. The Queen of Wands, Sagittarius, Taurus, or crackdown on shipping and receiving, or Viking Orient connection. So then I was guided to look up Viking Orient, which came up as the river cruises in Vietnam and Cambodia, river cruises on the Viking Orient. They also go in Africa, Asia, and Eastern Europe. Saggy present to Taurus, or Saggy waiting for ship to come back, as the Viking ship at sunrise comes up by Mary Pope Osborne, the book. Or Saggy on cruise and Vikings sent them off, Pope or religious leader twiddling their thumbs or rod or staff. Clamp down on lobster tail, or just tail in general, right? Clamping down on that kind of stuff, which definitely is happening in the church right now. At 12:37, the Hanging Man and the King of Cups are unconditional love, with Pisces, Sag, and Taurus all upright here. The Hierophant or patriarchy, satisfied dumping post-war. So I don't know what they're dumping on, and that can be sexual dumping as well from the church, who were not heeding the call. In religious changes, and the King of Cups reversed and the King of Swords reversed, coming clean or cleaning up their act, space, or spill. And that could be an ocean spill as well, since we're talking about shipping and receiving. Sudden events, epiphanies, and or sexual exchange, with triumph starting over, implementing a plan of justice, but on their last leg, with the 10 of Cups reversed, emotional cycle that's way overdue to end. At 12:40 then, the 40 being the Page of Cups, going forward after this read is the energy of depression or arrogance and leading the way in a twist, dropping the act, going crazy or coming out, sharing in order to find peace with the King of Pentacles upright and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and the Emperor, who's suffering in silence or dealing with the sister, and starting over with the Knight of Wands upright. The Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community with justice reversed, and rushing away from that Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, dysfunction or loss, and the injustice of it in the recent past is the Queen of Swords reversed, drained, burned, unhappy, low energy, or crazy kids or pets that they're dealing with, and leading them, like the Pied Piper, to the Empress reversed, withholding energetic exchange or the arrows of love, with the Divine Masculine coming out to fix, repair, or make amends, but it may be too much and it's not working out, or overworking for the Six of Cups, loving, innocent connection. The energetic exchange with the Empress reversed, who's definitely in lack, and the World upside down, or Taurus and Pisces both reversed, sharing or settling out, dumping emotional attachments or multiple loads at 1251, which is the Hanging Man and the King of Swords, as the Queen of Swords reversed is no longer confused. The foundation is the Lovers reversed, in a breakup or lack of affection, sleeping together in a twist of fate, and healing in separation, as the World is upside down, or Divine Feminine in 5D, sovereign and walking away. And the center energy is the Page of Cups reversed, rejected, with the Six of Cups, satisfaction with issues at work, and third party going crazy, coming out about rejection, or perhaps a parent with dementia and vulnerable. And the Page of Cups reversed, protecting their heart, keeping to themselves and over-isolating, challenged by the guidance of the Queen of Swords reversed, High Priestess reversed, who may be not using their intuition, or maybe they're the secret passion, scorned or in mourning, kept a secret from the Queen of Wands reversed, and ignoring their offers. The Queen of Swords reversed may be standing up to the Knight of Pentacles, who's offering help with dysfunctional family or business, of the Emperor upright, dropping the facade, settling out, fighting, or in pursuit of their happiness, and that could be someone who wants to fight instead of do their current job. A sudden jealous rage as the harsh truth is presented, the Hermit no longer missing their flame, the fallen angel, the Sovereign hanging out, visiting with the 5D connection, and withholding from perhaps issues at work, bleeding out regarding betrayal or surgery and healing. And now is the wheel upside down, the slowdown, the twist of fate, of the Queen of Cups upright and the Knight of Wands upright, with the Empress reversed, perhaps weak and praying, perhaps with their priest or religious guide or counsel, and the Queen of Swords reversed and Libra reversed, or she is a Libra, or Libra in her chart, may be lacking faith, or embarrassed, or fell from grace in the Empress reversed, sharing their codependency with them. So that can be a mother and daughter team there too. With the Queen of Wands reversed, partners, ending cycle of unhappiness, or with an unhappy family, with Pisces reversed, or secret passion, and presenting the truth in reunion of the wounded warrior feeling badly, defending themselves from unwanted advances. The Ten of Pentacles reversed, dysfunction, with no fantasy here, or no fantasy family here. The Dark Priestess is reversed, without the keys, hanging out or hung out to dry, and dumped or dumped on and overwhelmed. Okay, so that was the read there. So it's long already. We're already at 132, 50, 51 to 52, the King and Queen of Swords, and the journey of the Magician embodiment. And it's 3:20 on the clock, which is the Empress with Judgment, the judgmental mother, basically. Let's just pull an energy card and Journey of Love to make it quick. From the energy deck, what is our takeaway from all this today? December the 8th, 2021. Oh, that one. These bunch just flipped out. Deceit, anxiety, victory of the twins, and indecision at the Y in the road. All right, there's the dance. So it looks like even though there's deception with the Knight of Wands over here, there's also victory in the choice of path, right? Going perhaps from the wounded warrior and changing that path. But over here, there may be indecision on the Fool's journey with some anxiety regarding the moon energies on the feminine side here. Right? Because now once the masculine turned around, right, and had victory, it's because of that, there's the connection of the push and pull, then the feminine's, right, no longer interested at the Y in the road. Maybe she may be, maybe confused and not really interested, not sure if she actually wants the masculine anymore. So that's the energy of the feminine and the masculine here in the transition here. And I see there's 3 8s here as well, and doing the dance between the masculine and the feminine. But let me see what else comes out from here, because the Magician and the Mirror is at the bottom of all this, the Knight of Swords. Let's see what comes out. For the twins, a takeaway besides that energy. Take a deep breath. Okay. The door to value. Make sure you know what you value, what you want for yourself. And then we have the thinking man who's in their childlike energy, discovering what they really love to do with their 2 feathers in their cap. And there's the feminine energy crossing the bridge, right? She's in the middle of the bridge, deciding which path to go on, the 2. So it's basically confirming the other energies, right? He's found his way in discovering what's really important to them, the masculine finding his way, and then the feminine at the crossroads, deciding whether it's still something that she wants. And then there's also the anger energy from the masculine, and both of them, the Page of Wands, that needs to be healed here, which has been coming up. And then we have the woman holding her heart, so she's holding space with the 44, which is the grounding, integrating, and mastering of love, especially receiving it. Also holding the weight of the world on their shoulders, while the masculine last anger energies are being cleared. And this energy of the Ace of Wands, that 3rd energy, walking away, right? So any interference in the union is leaving. And then we have the underlying energy of the storm warning, which is a good energy. It's the 10 of the wheel, right? It's destined, and it's clearing the slate for everything to come clean. So after being tied up or playing games with the King of Wands, who keeps coming up as the pest or the mess, the one who's unbalanced, it's bringing those energies into balance with the storm, like bringing it back into all of a sudden 0 point. So it's very interesting how this is all playing out. And then from the Journey of Love, the Journey of Love. Breathe. Okay, just me saying that stuff is bringing up a lot of anxiety in people, because I could feel it. All right, let's see. Journey of Love. What is the message here for the twins to take away today? There we go. The Heart of God. The 9 of the Hermit to go within. There's the green inside the actual physical heart. It's like the actual colors of the body. And then the Guardian of the Soul Family of the 26, that Page of Wands, that anger energy that needs to be cleared in order to get to 0 point, which is why the storm is coming in. And then it's all of a sudden like kind of stormy in the heart, right, going within. And then the storm comes in, and all of a sudden things get much more clear and simple, like that this is very 2D. And then you can drop into your heart, because it's much smoother now. Hold on 1 second. All right, so then we have dropping to your heart, and then comes up the Burning Hero. So there's like cataclysm I'm getting of different energies, right? Because this is very 2D. We don't want to be in 2D, but it makes things very simple, going back from this kind of conflicted heart, going back to clear the Page of Wands anger issues, which takes you down to 2D, but yet it brings you into the vortex at the same time by dropping into your heart with the Page of Pentacles, right? The good student, the one who's got an opportunity or perhaps inviting. And then we have the Burning Hero, which is the mother energy, the feminine Burning Hero, which all of this is like, it's like the implosion explosion is what's happening here all at the same time. Burning into love. Let's see what the next card was. The next card is She is the Moon. And there's the Ganymede coming up as Jupiter's moon coming up, but also our moon being clear as the sword out of the stone. She is the moon completion with the 3 for Gaia. 21-3 is the way it's written, that we've come full circle. The spiral dance of the goddess of the 29 being present to your gifts, right? Don't choke off your ovaries here by denying yourself. as the mother prays. 15 is the shadow side, and again the mantis beings coming up here, but this is a very high vibrational color. Whereas the mantis may be very harsh, they're also a benevolent being. It's like the mother, she's harsh but good. It's coming up as the shadow side here. And again, this is very much the mother energy because this looks like a fallopian tube, right, with the birthing out the egg. So don't choke off the egg by denying your mother, right? She is who you are. You are the culmination of all of the ancestors before you. Well, that's interesting. So I have to read Heart of God, and then we'll be all set. That's number 9. Okay, you are part of something profound, a divine calling and privilege. It's the role of the inspiratrix, or inspirator upon this earth, the women and men who have hearts capable of bliss. Bliss is what we feel when we let God in. The heart opens and we cannot speak for the sensation of it. It cannot be described. Great hearts can tolerate mystery. They can bear the enormity of divine bliss, beyond analysis and description, and simply be. You don't have to do anything with it, you see. To be the inspiration is to have a heart open to the divine. It is a life calling. Your heart's an inspirational force to be loved, recognized, and protected for the precious catalyst of divine awakening that it is. Be led by your heart. God is in it, speaking through it, calling you forth to love, and the love that flows through your heart filters out through your toes, dripping on those beneath you as stars falling from heaven. This oracle holds a message for you, direct from the divine. You have a sacred purpose to fulfill on this earth, and it's all sorted out. The situation, this issue, this awakening that you seek are living even now as held lovingly in the hands of the divine creator. The creator says to you, leave it with me. It's all unfolding in perfection. I am alive in your heart. I am your heart. And the poem reads, when souls are touched with love sublime, and hearts unleash the wonder found, a promise made somewhere in time of words that speak without a sound. In gratitude we transcend space, and bless the gifts we now can keep, of thought's caress and soft embrace, and eyes allowed in joy to weep. The moment's song that we compose will leave this life with no regret, and carry forth what we impose to chart again a course once set. For what we have is ours to own, each breath a step we measure sweet. Together now we wait alone, and walk in peace, our hearts complete. Rise and be love, you guys. I'll see you soon. Have an amazing day. Bye, guys.